And now we wait. We wait for it to load. I actually got my knuckle cracking on audio. I heard that. That's crazy stuff. Hold on. Stream is live. Hold on, I gotta give... I'm gonna try to speed run the frickin'... letting everybody know that it's ready. It is ready. Okay, there it is. There's that. Hold on. Oh, they're giving me an ad for something. Everyone stand by. Hold on. We skipped that. Thank you, thank you. Hold on. Copy. Paste. Put a space there. That's a space in the wrong spot. Now let's see. I've done 3 exclamation marks. I've done 4. Now what am I thinking? How many exclamation marks today? That is the question. Hold on. I think, you know what? I'm going to do 1. I'm going to just do 1. Boom. It's up. There it is. I just did 1. Okay. We're here now. Question mark. Where's everyone? Hold on. Let me go to a special button there. Oh my gosh. I hate that overlay. No. It's fine. No, it's fine. Nobody panic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We are so back, in fact. There we go. Now we're ultra back. Okie dokie. Artichoke. Howdy, everybody. Welcome. I've done a little off-camera painting, and some people wanted me to do this live, or some people were suggesting it yesterday. But I didn't. Only because I really had no plan, and I would have to sit down and actually think about it. But let me get right to the painting over here, and let me grab Mortarion, and let's see what did we work on? What's different with this guy? Huh? What do we think? Something don't look like it did yesterday. Ooh. Now what exactly is that? Desk has changed? Maybe so. The desk is a tad damper than it was. Never mind, it is now not damp. I've done the weapons. I have done the weapons. Started on the weapons. I am not done with the weapons. I have simply started on them. There is still a long way to go. But I've been experimenting, and I've been figuring out some stuff. Now, some of these colors are a little on the dark side because I got gray, so maybe the white tissue background will be better for this. Let me go up there. So I've been doing some shenanigans. The gun is unfinished. I have some ideas, okay? This is going to be one of my more ambitious projects, but I'm going to take techniques that I've learned a while ago, and I'm going to hope that I still remember them. Here's the scythe, okay? I went with a rusty outside here with a metal blade. I also do dry brush metal on the outside because my theory, okay, what I would think is if this guy has a scythe, he probably has it to hit people with, and if he's actively hitting people and probably, not treating this thing with a lot of care, he's probably hitting the ground, I would assume. So I would assume that he gets wear and tear with some fresher damage going on there. That's my theory on the whole operation. The gun did a similar rusting bit. Now, usually I would have this cage rusted as well, but for now, I've just gunmetaled it and then gave a dirty Agrex Earthshade wash on it. So, I'm kind of vibing with it so far. However, there is stuff to do. There is still stuff to do. Okay, let me give you a brief little explanation of the plan. The plan going forward, okay? So on the gun, I'll go with the gun first. Thankfully, this camera's actually zooming in. Okay, so there's a threshold. So on his, cylinder, or whatever, okay? There are, it's like the dude has a plasma revolver or something like that, okay? But inside, there are skulls. Okay, lots of skulls going on. And it's very, very ominous, okay? A lot of skulls and stuff. Some texture going on there, okay? Now, here's what I am thinking. Here's what I'm thinking of doing, okay? I love a glow effect, okay? Glow effects are pog. Looks like there's some other people who like glow effects as well. These people are wise. This is exactly what the plan is, okay? The color of the glow, I am probably going to do a yellowish or orangish color. And that is for sure happening on the gun. I plan to make this whole bunch of skulls or whatever glow. That is going to be an interesting concept there. I also do plan to have the barrel glow as well. So I haven't done anything too much. I was considering possibly rusting the barrel and leaving the cage exposed, but I think I might want to have the barrel glow. And then maybe have it glow through some of these holes there. Who knows? We'll see. So that's a thought. That's a thought process for sure. Now let me transition over to the scythe here, okay? This is all this was just done today, and so all of these thoughts are just vomited from earlier today. So all are subject to change, okay? But we also have this part of the scythe. Now, I don't know what the heck is supposed to go on here. When I look at the box art for what they have going on in that little texture. Let's see. There it is. They have it, there's just like there's some fleshy stuff happening, okay? Now, not sure if it's like, it's some form of flesh. The theme that they were going for on their officially painted Death Guard was pink. So, you know, on the metallic parts, they have like some red there, and I'm like, what's that there? Is the metal bleeding? I don't know. I don't know how they roll up at the whatever freaking painting station they're painting these guys with. And you know, the red's an interesting color. I think it's cool, but I think it might be cool to adapt a little bit of that glowing effect we discussed with the plasma pistol, and maybe doing something similar to the scythe. Have it nice and glowy, because that would almost make it make more sense as to why it hasn't completely rusted. Because I don't know if Mortarion is the kind of guy after every battle to clean his weapon to keep it rust free. I don't know. But what I'm thinking is utilizing maybe either some watered down white acrylics or a white oil wash, and then followed by a fine airbrushing of some white and just giving a nice orangey, maybe yellowy glow. Probably an orange going into a yellow glow is probably what's gonna happen. Like the Sword Girly Man has. Exactly what I'm thinking. There's also some more spots on, if we look inside of his stick that his scythe is attached to, there's some texture going on in there. Now, I don't know if those are a bunch of maggots, like seeping in. That's kind of horrific. Might be pretty cool. Or do we want the stick to be glowing? I'm not quite sure what I want yet. But I'm gonna give it some thought, and I think what I would want to do beforehand is actually go paint the glowing effects here and on the gun, take a look at the overall model, and then gauge whether or not it needs even more glowing. The other thing is, I'm not particularly the greatest glow effector. Okay? So a lot of this is going to be, it's going to be something. We're going to see what happens, okay? But I think for now, I've hyped myself up about it. I think I'm going to attempt the glowing effects this stream. I think I'm going to fart around and find out what exactly we want to do. So, we're going to sit back, we're going to give it a whirl. Only going to do one side of the scythe, and then one side of the gun, because I do need to, once I establish how I do everything, let me showcase this real quick. Because I do actually have a script going on. So there's the script there. And so I'm keeping note of everything that I've ever done on Mortarion here, okay? There's a lot happening, okay? And right now we're onto the scythe. I got to keep that all nice and, sorted. That way it's all easy to read, and then immediately start editing afterwards. I have a process down, but this is just taking a while longer just because it is a rather... wrong one. It is a rather large model. To be honest, it's a big feller, and these guys take me a while. Is that the same video from last stream? Yes, yes, it is. It is. It's very cool. It's very fun. I enjoyed it. It's very fun. Also, sorry, this has nothing to do with the stream, but I am gonna yap about it. I'm gonna yap about it because this happened just before the stream started. Just before the stream start in the game. Okay, so that's Manhattan Cafe right here. This is Agnes Tachyon. Their characters in Uma Musume Pretty Derby, and I have been grinding that game for the past like 4 days now, trying to get a 3-star stamina spark. You don't need to know what that is, but there's a 10% chance of that spawning, and the careers take about 50 minutes if you auto do them, and I have had terrible luck, and I've been grinding it the entire time. Just before the stream, I finally got the 3-star stamina spark, and so now I'm happy. Okay, so I am riding off that high. Doesn't mean anything to you unless you play the game. Just know that we're gaming now. We're gaming now. Now, let's begin some fun stuff, huh? Let's start some glowing. First thing we got to do is plan this, okay? You know, I've discussed what we're going to do. Very easy to do that. The challenging part is going to be, you know, how. So now I just stare at it for a bit and I go, how? I think first what I'm thinking, I'm wondering if I should paint the skulls. The skulls are probably going to be doing a... they're going to be glowing. Now I'm wondering what exactly is going to be glowing. I'm thinking maybe have between the skulls glowing. And so maybe I'll have the skulls. I'll just paint the skulls like a standard skull. So maybe a bone color. Okay, so let me pull out a bone color. Right, quick. Let's see. And the bone color I like to use, I love this color. Very good. Can we hit? Am I gonna join Helldivers? Who knows? Probably not. Maybe though. Maybe it looks fun. I've seen some gameplay. First time I've ever seen gameplay, by the way, was just a couple days ago. I've heard of Helldivers. I've never seen gameplay. Just saw it. It looks fun. Can we set up a Helldivers fun? I mean, you can set up anything. Whether or not it does anything is a completely different story. Sure, like for the Lord Solar proxy you talked about last time, should have them use a Fallen Titan piece, like a toe or something, then have the map just spread over that. That might be fun. That might be fun. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to do on that whole front. Have I tried playing Helldivers? Nope. Only just saw gameplay yesterday on a freaking like YouTube short. There was like a bunch of it was like you know, there's a lot of clip farms out there, and it's just it'll be dudes shooting the shit playing a game, and the game they were playing happened to be Helldivers. And so I forget what it was. It was very funny. But, you know, everywhere you go, there you are. Ah, yes, fair enough. Well, everywhere you go, there you are there. Now, let's see. Let's get some of this bone color on there. We got a dude bathing. Join us. Everyone wants me to join him. When you're playing next time, you can watch me streaming on Discord. Fair enough, fair enough. Fried tea. Everyone's there. It's Thursday, but close enough, close enough. I should probably get out of the bath, but I'm sitting drinking a brisk blueberry pomegranate. All right. No, this is good. Watching Sherlock stream this one live. Ever tried being in a sauna at 90 degrees with no airflow? I mean, working. Oh. Yeah, no, I haven't done that. I usually work at mountain temperatures. Mountain desert temperatures, if that makes sense. Now, I'm going to need I'm going to take a fine brush. Utilizing a Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush is what I'm going to be doing today. We're going fine right off the gate with this one. I'm going to thin it down a hair, and then get rid of some excess over some green, not pick up any of the green because the color's dry because I'm just that good. And now let's see, what would be easier to... This might be easier to film. There's a side I have to work on. I'm going to work on this side today, is what I will be doing. Try working at room temperature. Oh my god, you scare me, dude. You spook me so. And I'm just going to do just a basic covering of them. I'm not going to do nothing too nuts. I'm kind of just going to get the general color over it and then call it good. Because the amount of glowing that's going to be happening here, this base color might not even show up. So, you know, we'll just see what we get. Oh, that's ominous. Hopefully that's not a rat dying outside. And hopefully my microphone isn't picking that up. But it sounds like someone is drowning outside in battery acid. Which, you know, you would kind of have to be... Oh, no, that's the sprinklers going on. I remember now. Now we're good. All right. Now that's all nice and boned. We got some bones here. There we go. There's our first bit there. Got a little overbrushing on the right side, but, you know, we'll be able to recover. Nice and well enough, I'd argue. Now for this underside. My goodness. I do like... It's an interesting concept, but I kind of like how his gun is. I kind of vibe with it. It's pretty... it's a good combination of ominous but cool looking, without being too crazily into one thing or another. It's just a very stylish... It's a stylish piece. I'd like it. I enjoy it. I think it is neat. Now, let's see. That's looking dandy enough. Nice, well, and even good. Some might say. Some might argue. I might argue it. Keep that in frame. There we go. And then, depending on how our process goes, I may take a break to occasionally go and write in the script, or at least make a note of what I'm doing. If things get too complicated, I'm like, wow, I'm going to start forgetting what's happening. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But let's see. There we go. Now we got that all sculled up. Very cool. Yeah, that should be fine. Now let me get a little German gray out right quick. And I am going to just do some tidy up because I have already missed a couple spots. Oh, let's see. There we go. Get a little more on there. There. Okay. Now we clean it up. Hold on. Let me get it back in frame and in focus. There we go. And we just tidy it up. Simple as that. Also, I don't know if you can see it. There are some tiny lines on this gun. Almost like a fancy little trim. Like if you look between the skulls, there's a line there. Now, I'm wondering, do I want to make that line glow, or do I just kind of keep that as just like a decorative thing? We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. But it's an interesting note. All right. There we go. That looks mighty fine there. And now for this underside. This underside needs a little work done, and I'm going to be doing it from that. Because I think that is, you know, it's so bad it's good. There we go. I'm actually holding my breath too. That's probably why I'm shaking more. There we go. And when you take a breath, you immediately start to slow back down. Wow. I wonder if that's why they train snipers to breathe in and out when they shoot. Crazy. All right. Now that's clean. Clean and dandy. So we will see. Now that's good there. Might need a little tidy up where some rust got over. And so hold on, because we don't want to. One of our pieces is Pig Step from Minecraft. Ah, fair enough. Great song. Great song. Dude, that was a cultural freaking masterpiece when it first came out. It was awesome. Love that song. Blasted it in my mom's car as a young lad. And we would just go blazing past schools, blasting that. It was good. Good times, good times. All right, now let's start some glowing. And this is gonna be interesting. Opinion on other side? I mean, you know, there's Jesus! Manhattan Man, my God! Hold on! Everyone frickin' look. Jeez, $10. Manhattan Man, thank you for $10 super chat. My gosh. Thank you so much. Holy crap. Everyone look. Ignore. That is so kind of you, dude. My goodness. Thank you so much. That is freaking awesome, dude. 10 whole bucks. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much. That is dope as all heck, man. That's exciting. Yeah, the quota, right. I did. Now, my stream goals haven't been anything good recently. The last one was I would eat my leftover sandwich. Didn't get to eat the leftover sandwich. Don't know who would want to see someone eat a leftover sandwich. Why you said 5? Oh, no. I don't know how to do refunds. I'm sorry. But now I would do... There's a workshop tour. I don't know... I know I'm going to do that. I'm going to... My cords are long enough. I could sneak this camera off and I could do a tour. There's also probably other ways to go about it. Either way. So that's what the goal is, essentially. So yeah. So that's fun. But yeah, Manhattan Man, thank you very much. That is greatly appreciated, my friend. And we need a tad more silver here just before I absolutely forget it. Hold on. There we go. Jeez, Fire Ant, $15. Thank you for the $15, Fire Ant. My goodness. Wow. That is incredible. My God. Okay. Thank you, Fire Ant, so much. I really appreciate that. Holy crap. That is incredible, dude. Wow. Thank you. Yeah, there will be a... At this rate, there might freaking well be a workshop tour, dude. That's incredible stuff. Heck yeah, man. That's sick. Now let's continue on our journey here right quick before I get way too sidetracked. So now we got the skulls painted. My goodness. Very interesting. Now we got to do some white. We got to get stuff started. How much for me to mail you a burrito? I mean, your burritos sound like they are of a different caliber as far as burritos go. I don't know. I don't know if I could put a price on it. They might just be priceless. Might just be. Now, I'm going to take a little white paint, okay? Now, I could do an oil wash. That's not going to dry during this stream, so I'm going to go with acrylic. So let me go ahead. Grab a little bit of this and that. And Fire Ant, you're still making the last of your gray knights. Making them? Oh, dear. You're freaking going for it. Yeah, for those who don't know, Fire Ant is on a bit of a Grey Knight crusade going on, and they have a whole freaking... There's a lot of stuff happening on the Grey Knight side. Also, here's a little white paint. I'm going to put the white paint over in a clean area. Don't want any dilution here, okay? Bonk. There's a little bit there. Sure, like you can now buy Helldivers from the first of 2 boxes. Jeez. Okay. My goodness. That's incredible, dude. That's freaking awesome. Sure, like you can now buy Helldivers. I still have yet to receive my payment. They say a payment is on the way. I still have yet to receive said payment. Okay? So I can't buy nothing just yet. I think it's about $30 for Helldivers. You only have to put forth $5. Fair enough. Fair enough. I get it. If I was a betting man, I would almost think people want me to play Helldivers. If I was a heavy gambling addict, which I would say I'm not, but I kind of am. A lot of money was sunk into getting the Agnes Tachyon speed card, which doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just know that some good money was lost there. That about sums that up. All right, now that I have properly thin down some white paint, hopefully good enough. Maybe a little more. I'm just going to throw a drop on there, take from that drop, and then thin this down incredibly so and see what we get here. That's looking good. You are a gambler, man. You play with my... Yeah, I know. But got sidetracked and ordered 3 destriers. Don't know what a destrier is. It sounds tasty, though. Let's see, Sherlock. How much for me to reveal my credit card info? That might be a fun thing to do at some point. 2, what, I don't know what the max... did. Yeah, I did do a night gesture. Oh, geez. Okay, fair enough. Don't know if I could put a... Similar to Feather and Feywild's burritos. It might just be priceless. Maybe so. Who knows? Also, what I am going to do to help the paint spread just a little bit is dap it in a little bit of water. Max is 500. Yeah, no, I'm not going to put a price on it just because you never know. Now, right now, I'm just soaking a bunch of water into where we're going to be applying this, this white diluted paint. Just enough to dampen the surface so there's not a whole lot of surface tension when we go on to apply our very thin, very diluted whitewash. Okay, are you ready? Here that goes. We're gonna see how this looks all together. I'm kind of curious. All right. Hey, looky there. Hey, that's good. This is good. That worked out fine. I like it. I vibe with it. That is good stuff happening there. Perfect. Now let's do the bottom side here. This is all working out extremely well. Maybe a tad too much water on the bottom here, so hold on. Let me hit that there right quick. And now I will go over that. There we go. Now we have a nice base for some fun glow effects. And that's our base. There it is. It's looking mighty decent, looking mighty fine. Mossy, thank you so much for the £2 donation. That's £2, right? I can never get the get it correct. I'm gonna hope that I got it right. But thank you so much, Mossy. That is very kind of you. We might very well hit it. That would be that'd be pretty insane. That would be very cool. Thank you guys so much. This is incredible. I love this. You guys are freaking so awesome. And I'm gonna do a hair more cleanup real quick here on our gun. Because I got a little white on it, which is okay. But we want to keep the majority of it nice and gray. There we go. That was my iced tea money. Okay, now that is a sacrifice, because I feel like I see you drinking, it's either beer you're drinking, or it's an iced tea you're drinking every, 5 seconds. So I do appreciate you sacrificing that. Okay, now I'm going to give that a second to dry. Then the question is, do I want to start working on this? Maybe so. Mostly beer? Fair enough. You had one today? Fair enough. I was at war today. Okay? And I won. I was battling a horsefly that was annoying some horses, and so I had to oh my gosh, it was like the better part of 40 minutes I'm hunting this horsefly, by the way. I'm busying myself, making it seem like I'm not waiting for this frickin' horsefly. But he did not make it easy. Not at all. But what I had to do, I usually whip him with my hat. That's what I did to the last one. You drowned a horsefly. Technically, I did too. Just by filling up a water trough, and then I come back, and it was dead in there. So I'm counting that as a kill. I'm adding that to the KDR. So I'm at 3 right now. 1 I drowned, 1 I whipped with my hat, and 1 I had to catch with my actual hand. It was on the rump of a horse, and so I just went bonk, and I had to catch the thing, because don't really want to whip a horse that has extremely powerful legs. It might be an older horse, but, it's wild. By the way, Sherlock, your likes on Insta are wild. Ah, yes, they are. They are extreme. It is, borderline concerning. It is kind of funny. Now, honestly, we kind of just have to wait for this to dry. So I think I am actually going to start on this guy here. And I think... Sherlock, please give us a workshop tour. I think that's what my goal is, right? Yeah, there says a goal, 10 super chats, and it says workshop tour. Yes, okay, good. I'm not mistaken there. out of a spotted lanternfly today? Heck yeah, dude. I frickin' salute you. And now I'm going to slightly dampen the, oh wait. My gosh. I can zoom in even more. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So now what I'm doing is I'm kind of just dampening the inside of this, like, little crevice here. Not quite sure. There's some power or something flowing through. Not 100% sure. But I'm going to get that a little bit damp. And then come in, grab our famous, very watered down white paint. A staple. Just like Gran used to make. And now we're going to line this sucker. And you can see, sort of, hopefully, the amount that we're able to kind of get right here. You know, it's kind of funny. I got oil washes, learned how to use them. Although, if just a little water and white paint will get you a pretty decent way there already. It's kind of cool. And then I can simply just use my finger and kind of wipe away some excess white. And then we can always just color over the white with some silver if we've gotten some stuff over. Or I can just scrub it away because white on silver, or anything on silver, wipes off very easily. Very fun. Sherlock, we won't send you creepy things, I swear. Fair enough, fair enough. I'll send IKEA Shark then. IKEA Shark. Woe bag of deer teeth be upon ye. Fair enough, fair enough. Who is we? Fair enough, fair enough. Looks like we've come to a conclusion or a consensus. Wonderful. That's all I could hope for. Now let's see. How is that? That's already looking. You can kind of see potential. Okay, we're in the potential phase. There are several phases to this whole operation. There's the potential phase, there's the ugly phase, and then there's after the ugly phase. And then there's done. The big four, you could say. Now, I am going to try to get a little bit of a thicker white line in the end of the line, end of the little power surge here. Just doing some fine motion on it. Pun intended. Those who know. Might need to come in with a second stuff happening. But we will see. We will see. All right. Now, that is drying up. Sherlock, a maid outfit I will send. Early in the degeneracy that was some of the Sherlock fan art, someone did AI me onto a maid outfit. So you would just send it, and then it would just be returned to sender. It has been done. It has been done. Yes, that was that was certainly a time. And now I'm thinking, don't want to eat the frickin' microphone. But I'm thinking, now I can begin trying some glow effect stuff. So, we're going to see what happens. I want to utilize the airbrush. Okay? I am going to utilize an airbrush. That is my crutch. I am not going to be trying to do a bunch of glow effects without the airbrush. Need a little external glow happening. Just got done. I need to go. Be back later. Fair enough, Fire Ant. Fire Ant, thank you again for your support. Thank you for being here, and hopefully your car's good. So I offer that. Now, let's see. Let me grab this airbrush, which is, you know, it's going to hopefully work. I'm going to really hope it works. You painted your 4th mini? Heck yeah, dude. Sick. Oh, hold on. I got to take my headphones off. I got to turn the airbrush on. There we go. Don't move. Don't fall. Okay. Everything is A-okay, ladies and gentlemen. We're gaming now. Glad to $500 to get it fixed. Oh, dear. R.I.P. Okay, here's our airbrush. Okay. It's not the cleanest airbrush. I might have to give it a quick little once-over right quick with my famous alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol. I like to do a little bit of that, and that gets us nice and cleaned off well and good. I'll use an actual frickin' Costco napkin. We're Costco guys. Of course we buy vanity napkins. Now, whether or not anyone would have ever gotten that is a question for another time. There we go. And now we have to feel. Now that is a little on the. It's kind of hard to tell, but it feels a little. See how that kind of goes slow every now and again. Might have to just do a quick touch up on our needle. Now I've gotten so good at taking apart the airbrush in record time. It's kind of incredible. Also, let's see. Another thing I do to gauge whether or not the airbrush is clean is if you can see all the way through it, which I don't know if the camera would pick it up. No, it wouldn't, because that's just not where we're at. We get a tour of my horses at like 7K. I want to see the horses. Maybe one day. Maybe. We'll see. Might be sooner than we think. I can't say why. But if something works out, then I think yes. I think you will see. I think you might see the horses. If things play out in a certain way. I can't go into it. But possibly so, and it'd be fun. Maybe, who knows? Now, let's see, is this all nice and dandy? That is all nice and dandy. And so let me see if I can actually appropriately showcase what I'm looking for in the airbrush. Now, hopefully I can line this up so we can see. And let me just doubly verify. Yes, okay. Now, whether or not this will focus is another question. Now, you can't really see it on the camera. Perhaps if... I gotta like do a crazy pull here. I mean, it's not the most. Oh wait. I had it. Yep. See that? Wait. Hold on. It was there for a second. I should be painting instead of lining this up. Okay, fine. You gotta just believe me. You can see all the way through it. Trust me, dude. And when I do that, and when I see that, I'm like, cool, we're fine. Also, must we hit 10 donations for you, or is enough? I set the goal to 10. I don't know how they've traditionally worked, but I'm gonna live by that. That's just what I'm gonna do. Also, these napkins are falling apart. These are not bounty paper towels, dude. They do not, these are for fine dining experiences, aka a TV dinner. I mean, look at that. That thing's falling apart. Now, am I rating a napkin that you supposed to, wipe away excess pasta sauce off of your face and hands with, and comparing that to a paper towel which is made to clean up harsher messes? I might be. But, the napkin should have thought about that before, they started frickin' manufacturing them. To each their own, I suppose. Now let's see if the needle goes in and if everything else works out nice and dandy. You got to go Afton style. He will always come back. He always does. He always does. To quote a specific trailer, he always does. What do I tend to have in my sandwiches? Peanut butter and jelly. Yep. If I make it. Now already it's a little smoother. I could do a deep clean, but I don't want to do a deep clean on a stream just yet. Now let's see. As far as white goes, the best white I have ever used is... Let me grab it. Hold on. There it is. Ugh. But you don't eat it too much? Yeah, fair enough. I eat it a fair amount. It's just easy. It's easy and it's good. And it's a tried and true thing. Actually, way earlier on in young Sherlock's life, when he was first getting into model making, he watched a lot of Luke Towan. That was all I watched. And what I would do is at noon for lunch break, I would make a peanut butter jelly sandwich and watch Luke Towan. And I did that for several weeks straight. Weeks. And I would rewatch like the same video. It was when he made the L-shaped cave and water rapids, and it was the stalagmites and stalactites. And that's what I remember. But yeah, I love that video so much. Now, the greatest white ever is Tamiya Flat White. Now, it says flammable. I want to test that at some point because it just says acrylic paint. So, you know, there shouldn't be nothing too crazy about that, one might, you know, imagine. But for now, I will just, the Tylenol is strong with you. I know, dude. I know. That's why I'm here. And if that's the case, then I thank Tylenol. I thank it for what it has done to me. Now let me grab, there it is. A little bit of pipette. Now, this has seen the white paint before. Very ominous stuff. Hold on. Let me grab something else. There we go. Now, we have airbrush thinner. I'm running low on this stuff. I need to order more because the situation is getting dire. Oh well. Now, how I do this? Now, the Tamiya paint. Let's take a gander at it. Very very blown out. I would need to lower the ISO like a billion. Hold on. Okay, let me do that. Let me do that, dude. There we go. Very watery stuff. Okay, so there's not a terrible amount of thinning that needs to be done. But what I like to do is, let's see, take a little bit of the thinner and just do a little splash of it, okay? And I work in little splashes. I don't work in drops. I work like a bartender. A splash of this, a splash of that, and we'll call it a Shirley Temple. Except this is white paint, so it would be a, I don't know, a Shirley Mormon church. How about that? Those are white, I think. Last time I saw one, at least. Now, we take a little bit of our white paint, just a hair. We literally just need the tiniest amount because of the glow, the size of the glow effect we're doing. So we get a little bit in, and we go 1 drop, maybe 2 drop, maybe however many drops. A splash. I don't work in drops. And then the excess I will desperately try to like get out here because I'm a maniac when it comes to saving paints. Close enough is good enough. Reseal this. Jar of white. Yes. I cast jar of white. And let's see, do I usually mix this? No. What I'm simply going to do is mix this with air. Wow, it looks like I'm airbrushing light. I can control light. That is crazy. Hold on. Lower the ISO way down, dude. There we go. Now, I am simply going to just do some mixing with air there. I'm not going to mix it with a brush, just air. Oh, okay. Splash that on my finger. It's kind of glowing. That's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. Now let me raise it up a bit. Let's get back to the situation. There we go. We're good there. And now let us begin. Now we're on to actually airbrushing. This will be interesting stuff. Hopefully it doesn't clog. It does not clog. Oh my. Okay. Forgot about that. I should probably check on my compressor at some point. But I'm going to hope that all just worked itself through. There was a little moisture in the hose. The hose catcher thing was, you know, being funny. Now, let's take a look here. Get a little white started there, looking good. Now to do glow effects. I'm going to try to keep it in frame as best I can. But if I need to sacrifice it for control, I may end up going that direction. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. All right, that's good there. You can kind of see already. Kind of looks like it might be glowing. Now, let me go up on this side here. There we go. And now that is kind of glowy. I dig it. Maybe hit a little bit on the left side. That's a little neglected there. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Now that's all looking well and good. There. See, that's kind of a fun looking little thing. Welcome, Sinisty. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, I forgot my mask. Who cares? Okay, now let's do some scythe work. We're just going to add a little glow in here real quick. Just kind of working around. Hopefully the audio isn't, like, outrageously bad. But I think it might be, because I'm airbrushing right next to the microphone. There we go. Glowy. All right. And you can kind of see, no, you can't because it is blown out. Hold on. Not a lot of paint used. So there you go. Just arrived back in Germany. Ah, good. Hopefully it was a nice, safe trip. Now, quick. Too much thousand suns. Ah, fair enough. Now, do a little cleaning here. I'm just going to spray an absolute crap ton of isopropyl alcohol. Kind of blast some stuff through there. And don't think I'll be doing any more airbrushing for the next little bit, so I'll now just seal this and throw it away. And come back to it later. Oh my god, the next step is airbrushing. Because we have to glow this now. Coolio. Well, you know, first thing I will do is I'll build up a little more of the white glowy spots by glazing, by thinning down a little more white paint here. All fine and dandy-like. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, to build up, like, maybe some edge highlights just to really establish some light-catching areas. To try to be really artsy-fartsy with it, you know? So there is a little bit there. Maybe do a little bit here. A little bit there. And just kind of build that up nice and well. Looking good. And I'll do a similar situation for around here. All right, now that is well and good. Well and good, I say. And everything else here is looking mighty fine and mighty dandy as well. Perfect. Do a little highlight in here because obviously light would really catch this. Went a little heavy there. Hold on, let me clean it. Let me clean it. Hold on. We just gotta get rid of it. Without cleaning off too much of the rust, now that I think about it. Because, yeah, the rust does wash off with water. Believe it or not. Alright, now, that's decent. Now our scythe here. That's all nice and glowy, huh? Not too shabby. Now, let's see. Let me just kind of build up a couple of the edges here as well. Just to add a little more light texture, if that makes sense. But yeah, light texture. I'm throwing in a new word. Light texture. Or a new sentence. Who knows? Maybe this is something that happens all the time. I have no idea. But it's fun to think about. And I'll go a little thicker on the paint so I can really get some defined stuff rather than just some glazes. There we go. Looking nice and dandy. And good. Very nice. So now that that's all taken care of and situated, like that, now it's probably time to actually clean off the airbrush and get the colors ready. Ooh, but do I want to do the colors or do I want to just glaze the colors on? Probably airbrush the colors on. That would be the supreme thing. Will the weapon glow Xbox green? It's gonna glow Xbox red because demon. If you see the red light, you know you're screwed. No, actually, I'm going with an orange or yellow sort of look. Now, hold on. I do have to grab a very famous tool that we use to clean the airbrush. So hold on. Let me go grab that real quick. I'll be right back. Take a look at Mortarion. Look at him. Boom. Audience retention beat. Look at that. That's incredible. It's just, hold on. I'll grab it. There we go. Nobody panic. We're fine. Mortarion will skedaddle for the temporary. That's fully zoomed out. You don't even read it. You can't even tell that I fully zoomed out. Now we have the airbrush cleaning bin of death and despair. All right. And to clean an airbrush, you simply take an airbrush and you clean it. That's what they don't tell you in art school. Golly, okay, yeah, that's a potent smell coming from here, not gonna lie. All right. And now I'm gonna really try not to splash around and hit any of my equipment, because that would be suboptimal. And we kind of need that. All right, now I'm gonna get out some excess paint by just drowning the brush, okay? This is... Look, I don't want to do this, but I'm forced to, okay? We'll drink that punch if you send it to me. I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would, Mossy. Now let me grab a... Now, is this pigment powdered? Oh, no, that's just enamel, so we don't want that. Let me grab a new paper towel. There we go. To clean out the inside of this feller right here. So now, we're a lot cleaner. However, there's a little bit of pink paint right on the inside there. So I'm going to try to get that. Should probably first dry my hands, because, yeah, very wet process getting all the, getting the paint out. Sherlock bath water out. Yeah, if the, you know, we'll see how high the bills get. I doubt bills will ever get Sherlock bath water high. Even, you know, but either way. I'll get some other stuff out. All right. We can kind of see in there, there's still some paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to employ the use of our great helper, 99% isopropyl alcohol, which will eat up that sucker in a matter of seconds. And then all I have to do is come in with a magical device. I believe this was Shakespeare's invention. Fun fact. But that would be called the airbrush cleaning tool. Now, it looks like a paintbrush, but it's an airbrush cleaning tool. Very fascinating, very useful product. Very good good design, made by a very pretty famous rapper. So that's pretty neat. So I can move that around there, and now you can, like, look at all the paint. Look at all the paint water we got there, okay? Thankfully, I can just use this to try that all off. And now I can clean all this up. There we go. A lot cleaner already. So that's fun. All right. Now, let us try this out, okay? Hopefully, you know, airbrush color switching is a bit of a process, but it's worth it because I don't have to, you know, use an actual paint brush, which I'm still learning. There we go. There's the excess white. And then we just wipe that off. Now we should be good to go. I'm using my thumb to ensure we got everything off. I'll do something a little creative here. To work anything else through, we'll take a little isopropyl alcohol there. Get all that out. There we go. Now we can switch colors. I can remove this massive abomination of water and go about my day. For now. I don't know if I'll have to actually utilize any more airbrushing or not. Have not figured any of that out just yet. That's all good, well, and dandy. All right, let's see. Where's Mortarion? There's Mortarion. Here's Mortarion, by the way. In all of his glory. I mean, take a closer look. What is that? I'll tell you right now. That's a Mortarion. Not the Mortarion, a Mortarion. Here he is. Not too shabby, huh? I mean, you know, it's a pretty decent looking thing. I would argue. I might go so far as to reckon now to add some glowing effects, which is gonna be interesting because, and I want to say other people have experienced this. This was way back in the day when Army Painter first came out with their speed paints. Okay? Now, speed paints are awesome in general. I love speed paints. And I got them kind of when they were first, like, revealed and showed off and first hit the frickin' market. But one interesting thing to note, and I haven't... There we go. Now I'm actually getting some freaking ball-bearing movement on this guy. There we go. Let me get a dry palette so I can properly show you what I'm about to tell you. Okay? And I use their speed paints for glow effects all the time. All the time I do that. Here's a speed paint. Nuclear Sunrise, Vivid Orange. It's an orange speed paint. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Except we apply it right there. Okay? And now take a look here. Okay? This is an interesting bit of information there. Look at all those micro whatevers in there. There's like little black flecks in there. Now, I'm not sure exactly why. I think this later came out as a random title or a random title. Oh, what are you yapping about, Mossy? Sherlock? I asked, but I think it had blocked me. If you did answer, can I keep my title? Whatever you want. Go for it. But yeah, interesting little bit of quality control issue there. I believe they went and they fixed it eventually. But I can't use this speed paint to add the glow effect like I would want to. So, I'm going to try a different solution, okay? I'm eyeing something on my desk, and I'm going to, I'm going to take a look at it. When he can keep his title, can I be trusted? He has no title. He just renamed himself. And that's something he does. And then there you go. Now, I don't think I've ever used this ink. Oh yeah, I'm pulling out an ink. We're getting nuts. A Forge World ink. Dollar and Rowney. We got fancy names on paints. Interesting. Okay? Not sure how I think about that. But I guess the paints were around for a long time. Now, hopefully this comes out nice and fine out the airbrush. And I think this is a nice looking orange. This is kind of what I'm thinking I want to use. Forge World makes equipment. Yeah, I think that's what the FW is. So that's pretty impressive stuff. Pretty cool that they're making paints now. Now that is a fiery orange. My goodness, that almost looks red. I think on camera it does almost look like a vermilion red. But I'm going to put a singular drop right in the airbrush. Ink, be careful, your dreams may come to life. I don't get the reference. I don't know if you're referencing... I mean, the only possible reference I might get would be, the FNAF security logbook. That's my final answer. When, oh, if it's Bendy and the Ink Machine, I don't know Bendy and the Ink Machine. But might be the crying child when he was trying to communicate with Michael Afton. Bendy and the... well, R.I.P. Now let's see if this glow effect works, shall we? Let's give it a whirl, dude. And I'm gonna just go slowly and carefully, okay? Okay, we're starting to get a little something happening. Hold on. Nobody panic, nobody panic. We're vibing with it. I'm vibing. It's good, it's good, it's good. There we go. Huh? Ooh. Ah. Interesting. I like it. Gonna have to do a little touch up on the edges because the edges kind of just look like an ochre yellow over on the rust. But I think that's a decent proof of concept there. Okay? I think we can work with this. Is it a cheap way to test? Fair enough. Got any tips on getting cheap minis to practice painting? I'm not very good at painting yet, and I would rather not waste models. What I used... I really need to reach out and get sponsored by these guys. I glaze them way too much. But, hold on, I would recommend, I'd recommend War Games Atlantic. They sell batches of infantry for a reasonable price. And so you can get, like, I think last I checked, it was like you get 24 guy. You can get some of the stuff they get. You can get 30 guys for $35. Not bad. Not bad. Especially compared to some GW prices. But from War Games Atlantic, that's what they call. All my infantry are painted with them, and that's kind of how I got better at miniature painting, was I was painting infantry from War Games Atlantic. All right. Now for this glow effect. This I'm a little, we're going to see what happens. We're going to go for it, though. We're going to see what we can't get done here, okay? I'm thinking it's okay. I'm thinking nobody needs to panic just yet. No one needs to favorite. No one needs to panic. Kind of maybe a thicker application for this guy. There we go. And maybe hit from the top there as well. There we go. It's not too bad. My student name is too long now. All right. There we go. Might need to do a little, I might do a little tidy up just so the glow isn't so big. Maybe. Although, I should probably wait until I paint the center of this whole glowing monstrosity or whatever it is. Not too terrible. I got every free tutorial mini and monthly mini that they offer in my area. Thanks for like Spiner. I'll order some online. Very, very nice. Hopefully that helps. That'd be cool. All right, now I got a little glowing stuff happening, huh? Okay, that's a decent baseline. Not too shabby. We can work with this. We can work with it. Now let me just expel some of the extraneous stuff real quick here. We're doing this chemically. There we go. Perfect. Close enough is good enough. Then I'll just let that in there for the foreseeable future. All right. Now... Now let's take a look at exactly what we were able to accomplish here. Okay. Not too bad. We can work with this. I think the gun turned out better. I think so. We got to do a little figuring of stuff out on the scythe here. But, I mean, it's not outrageously bad. Just maybe not go so extreme with where the color was. I think first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, actually, a little lemon yellow paint, okay? Just a very, very bright yellow. Mix that with white, and then redo our dampening of the area, and then getting this stuff in the cracks and crevices to really establish the glowing coming from within. And see what we can't do with that. So I'll put a little bit of our lemon yellow there. I will put a little bit of white there. Grab a little bit of our lemon yellow. Mix that together. Grab a little more white. And now we have... Oh, I literally have this color. It's called ice yellow. I just didn't see it. But, you know, close enough is good enough. And then we take a drop of water. There was no water on that. There we go. Drop of water and thin this sucker down a good amount. Now we can do some fun stuff. I'm taking the brush, still slightly damp, and I'm going to just simply run it over where we want the white to hit and to glow on. And then once that's all damp and all that surface tension will be cut because it's already damp, we can just take a little bit of our thinned down yellow and begin just running it over everything here. So now that should start to establish more of a glowing sort of look. You know what I mean? And that's not too shabby. It's kind of decent, if I do say so myself. And then I can build up some of the original orange glow later. But this gets us a very nice quick introduction and quick defining of some of these brighter crevices where this glowing force is coming from. Not too bad. Not too bad. Shine bright like a diamond. You know, maybe so. Maybe so. So that's decent. And I think adding the bit of yellow might have even been a hair too much. Maybe it should have been stock white. You know, this is all one big experiment I'm doing. So we're going to get what we get. Because, you know, we're figuring it out. Now let's see. Yes, I think what I want to do on the scythe, I'm going to take just strict white is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that a little bit something there. And now I think I'm going to keep the surface tension, but I'm going to really load up a fine brush and really aim specifically for finer details and finer cracks and crevices. And we're going to see what we can get there. All right. Now we're there. Now we're going to see what happens here. And hopefully we can get that kind of in frame. Let me just go max zoom. And now just slowly kind of work our way in there. And I can already tell you, it would be a whole heck of a lot better if we just moisten the whole thing to start. So I'm going to wipe off kind of the excess there, and now I'm going to moisten all this up. There we go. Now that's good, and I'll go back into it. This should be a lot better now. All right. There we go. Already miles better. Except our white paint is drying fast, so I got to reactivate some of this quickly. There we go. There we go. Now we're gaming. Now we're gaming. Okay, now this is looking snazzy now. Yeah, this is working good. I'm liking, I'm vibing with this. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Nice. That's a good start. That is a great start. And once this dries, it should be a whole lot better as we go. Neat. Very, very neat. All right. Perfect, perfect. Okay. There we go. Okay, now I've basically gotten everywhere. And so now we have some especially bright stuff happening right in there. Haven't done a lot of glow effects on metallics, except like just a couple times. So we'll see how this turns out overall. This might be a bit of a weak spot right now in the painting, but we'll give it a chance. I'll work with it a little more. And then I think I'll do a little touch up over here by kind of moistening the whole area down just a little bit with some water. Like so. And now taking our very watered down white paint and going about our kind of, you know, glowing journey, establishing that base color of just light. Now there we go here. I'm going to try to keep it like on the edges here, and then in any visible cracks and crevices. So like in the eyes, I mean, this is all very, very interesting stuff. There we go. And then I can always like come back to it in a bit and kind of figure it out even better. But I think for now, this is a good start. Good start, good start. Because I do want just a very... And you know what I can do? I can go over like that and then actually take a brush and wipe off the stuff from the top. That's the way to go about it. Fair enough. Good bugs for some basic bugs or army men. That's amazing. Awesome. Good. I hope that, yeah. Yeah, it's a great company. I love what they're doing. And I love their models. And their models are great. I've built hundreds of them. Built and painted hundreds of them. And I do not get bored with them. I love them so much. Now let's see. Some of this orange paint on the actual on the actual paper towel here is not fully dried, so I am going to steal a little from that and build up a little bit of the orange shenanigans happening on here. There we go. This will kind of darken down raised areas that aren't the source of the glow, and we say, no, no, no. We want the source of the glow to be inside of, like, this cylinder thing. And so this will help us do that. And that's looking good. I'm not too dissatisfied with it. Now, that is fine. Is Sherlock canonically autistic? No, believe it or not. Let's see. So there we go. We got some glowy stuff happening there. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Now, I think it's this glowing part on the scythe, which is a little on the meh side. I think what I would want to do for the scythe is, instead of utilizing the airbrush, paint the whole thing silver. And then what I will simply do is manually brush on all of the glow. I think that is the way to go with this particular guy. But I'll try to see what we can't salvage with just some silver and a brush. Because we kind of got to go over some more stuff here. I can try to avoid, like, inside crevices and other shenanigans like that, but it's not terrible if we completely miss it. There we go. See, already I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get it. Am I pear reviewed though? Don't know, but I mean, I'm not the biggest pear guy. If there's a pear and an apple, I'm gonna go for an apple. Usually, traditionally, is what will happen. But you know, everywhere you go, there you are. Now, I'm gonna try to hit the edges here. Okay, come on, focus. Hold on, let me remove that. So there we go. Now it wants to focus. Sorry about that. Perfect. Parents. Yep, there you go. Alrighty, now that is looking okay. It's looking all right. We're backtracking, but it's fine. I feel like the orange on the blade is too light. That's what I'm thinking as well. I think it needs to be a hair more subtler. And then I think it would be miles better. I think maybe a bright glowing kind of inside streak, whatever is happening here, will be fine. But yeah, came out a little too bright, which is fine. We'll be able to fix it well enough. And now we got it just about kind of fixed up enough to restart. All right. There we go. Not too terrible. But, you know, we're learning. We're figuring it out slowly but surely. Oh, you meant peer-reviewed. Yeah, no. You're talking about, like, if I've asked my peers, I am not peer-reviewed in that sense. All right, now we got some silver happening here. I think this is going to be a better start. I think we got more potential with this as our base. I think we can work with it from here. There's just a couple spots I missed, so let me just re-up on those right quick. There we go. Okay. Now, maybe. See, I'm kind of liking that. Darker orange is the base. I'm thinking a similar thing. So let me grab my orange. There we go. So now I got just a clear orange is what this feller is called. Put that on the palette, because, you know, the palette's not overcrowded. Gotta edit the process into a time-lapse and tell on everyone did in one session. Yeah, there you go, right? Alright, now let me thin down the orange. Or actually, I'm not going to thin down the orange, because it's kind of a... It's not the most opaque paint to begin with, so hold on. Let me do this, and let me just get the darker orange in there, just as a base. Because then I think we can work around this. And I'm kind of vibing with it already. If I may be so bold, I think this might be the way to go about it. We'll see. We shall see. Gotta kind of trace gently in some areas here. There we go, there we go. Looking good, looking good. Perfect. Now some finishing up areas here. Gonna have to kind of change angle with this one. Yeah, I'm gonna just have to flip this guy around and not actually use the painting handle at all, just to get up here real quick. There we go. And now we are there on that front. And I'm beginning to think this is already a better start to the operation. Now let me do that and then wipe that away. That is a great looking that is a great little technique. Putting paint on there and then wiping the top of it away with a finger. Just got here. What am I going for on the scythe? Feel like I'm still waiting on a Lehman Rust tank. I know. I am going to do a fully rested tank. I will one day. It will happen soon. I got to get more. I'm doing more. I got to work on Mortarion right now. Once Mortarion's done, then I'll get started on the next thing, and it'll probably be... Well, I don't know what it'll be. But the Rust tank is high on the priority list, because that was a lot of fun. And I think some more experimenting could be warranted. Let me build up some of this orange here. There we go. Alright, now that orange is built up. And... Alright, I kind of got to work in the silver with the silver up here. You notice this silver's a little different than that. That is because I, you know, I did a wash on top of it. So I'm going to have to add a little more of that wash. Please shade the white. What white? The white on the side? Right here? Mortarion. Do you mean his white armor? Yeah, that's happening. It's just it's one of the last things. It's one of the last things that happens in my process here. All right, now I'm going to blend in some Agrex Earthshade in right quick. There we go. There we go. That looks good. That's looking decent. It's a little flat. Morty's armor, it's a little flat. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, that's the last step. The last step is a wash. This guy, a lot of magical stuff happens with the wash, but the wash is like the last thing that happens. So we just gotta wait until then. Wrong paint. There we go. Because yeah, otherwise there would be a whole... We're gonna airbrush the glow on. I did some airbrushing earlier on the pistol here, and it turned out all right. I think it's fairly straightforward, fairly decent. Might have to just work a little bit more on some of the glow there. Might be a hair on the outrageous side. Doesn't really look glowing more than it does white. But now let's see. I kind of like the orange like this. So I think maybe something like this with a with maybe some fine highlights on it and then some highlights on the edges of the blade, I think might be the way to go. So on that end, to that end, I mean, let me actually take a little bit of... I want to do some experimenting. I'm going to take a little yellow, little orange, mix them together, and we get orange. This is crazy. But now, I want to see what some highlighting would do. Got any replacements? I tried Airshade, but it's not the same. Earthshade. I slightly, every now and then I'll slightly thin down some Army Painter Speed Paint. I believe it's Grim Black. I just use that. And then I thin it down with their Speed Paint Medium or with water. And I like how that turns out. That's just what I personally do. All right, now let's see. There, I think the glow effect we have some possibilities here. We have some possibilities happening. Why did I choose Mortarion over the other Primarchs? Because I'm doing a Death Guard army, and the other Primarchs don't really fit in with my Death Guard army more than Mortarion here does. At least I think so, personally. All right. And I just like Death Guard. Let's see. This is... I see potential in this. I think maybe some Fulgrim of the Death Guard, dude, for real. I feel like that could be a possible kit bash, because he's basically one bit. He's a snake, but you could paint that to look like a tentacle enough, like on the freaking Death Guard. They do love their tentacles on the Death Guard. It's kind of funny. Let me just add a drip or a drop in certain areas as far as where I want this glow. I kind of like this idea as a glow rather than an actual glow. Just sort of like a very bright orange looking thing. It almost looks alive. All this color. So it's all fine. Oh, Death Guard Dosar can be a bit stupid. Dude, I've said stupider stuff than that. Here live. Immortalized on the internet forever. So you're good. Unfortunately, I have to go Sherlock my goat. Well, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. And I wish you luck on all your endeavors and your burrito empire. Getting dragged into Peak. Peak the game? That's a good reason to leave. Peak is... Oh, God, I love that game so much. I gotta play it again. I've beaten Ascent 7. I will flex that every chance I get. I will do that poll. Another Mortarium, then paint him Rick and Morty colors. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Now I'm actually going to take some freaking straight yellow and try some highlighting with that. That might be fun. Now let's see. Now I'm just going to highlight this thing with this freaking actual just yellow color on the very ridges here. And see what we can't get with that. All right. That's a... I'm kind of vibing with this whole thing going on right now. I like it. I like this pop of color. I think it's good. I think it's doing us good. Now, do I want to do a Do I want to do a little highlight of white? Do I want to try that? You know what? I'm going to try it. And I'll do it on a couple of, like, kind of really, really noticeable spots. And I'll see how that looks. Can always add more yellow. So I'm going to grab a little white from here. Thankfully, this isn't fully dried off yet. Now, what on... Test 1, 2. Okay, audio's good. I heard a click, and for some reason I thought my audio died. It did not, thank goodness. All right, now, we'll do a couple dots of white in some really prominent spots here. And that will hopefully make this whole thing look cool. In theory. Okay, you know what? I kind of like it. I kind of vibe with it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think it's decent. Hit that, there we go. I think that is something we can work with. And just on the Mortarion himself, let me kind of zoom this all out a bit. I think that's nice. And the armor, very bright right now. Don't worry, it will be shaded. But I think that will be a nice pop of color. The armor is going to get a lot darker. A lot darker. Once it's finally washed and all grimed to heck. But for now, that's not too bad. I kind of like how that scythe ended up. So I'm actually going to just roll with that. You know what I might do? I'll do a little bit... I'll do the tiniest glaze. I'll thin down a little bit of the orange. And I'll just glaze that on the edges. So not the actual, like, vein or whatever this is. Just the edges of stuff like that. Have any other... Neary hobbies, D&D, Magic the Gathering card game of choice? Not particularly. I do like... it's not so much a hobby, but I just enjoy playing Settlers of Catan every now and again. That's fun, but nothing to, question, is the meme dose good, or should I do less? Your meme dosage, Sinisty, is probably one of the more perfect meme dosages I have ever witnessed in any Discord. I think it's perfect. So I don't think you need to change it. I think you're doing freaking you're doing wonders, my friend. But well, not a card game of choice, but I mean technically cards count, but in Uma Musume Pretty Derby, you got to build decks and you got to pull for cards and stuff. It's just all digital, so I don't know if you'd count that as a hobby, but I'm certainly into that. Getting all the good cards and stuff like that. It's very fun. But for the most part, I'm just a Warhammer. I enjoy it much. It's fun. It fills my satisfaction levels very nicely. All right, now I think kind of spam Sherlock Leith reels. What's a Leith reel? Oh, is it? Hold on. Yep, don't know what Leith is, my friend. I can't read it. I don't understand it. All right, now let's see. This is a Sherlock with reels. Ah, yes. He does spam me with reels. I can't keep up, so I have given up and I have not checked. I don't think I've seen a single reel for weeks. The past weeks, it's been such a flowage of them. I'm just like, I can't. Also, I'm vibing with it's almost like lava from this scythe, which I kind of vibe with. I think that's a cool look. Some of them are horse. The thing is, I know some of them are horse because back when I did watch them, I saw there was horse stuff. I'm like, ooh, that's fun. I'm just barely on that stuff anymore. I can't keep up with everything you send me, dude. You send it so frequently. You're on the top of your game. Now let's see. I'm going to take a hair more of this orange, and I'm going to glaze some orange onto this, almost like a dry brush, almost. That would be the strategy, actually. I'm going to take a little bit and then maybe just do a little almost dry brushing over. There we go. See, I think that is decent there. That's how much that you think of me. Well, I appreciate it, Mossy. I do appreciate it. I don't watch them, but I appreciate it. How about is that a good happy medium? There you go. All right, now that's looking fine there. Maybe just a hair more yellowish, orangish, something-ish into these crevices, because that's just a little too white to be normal. Please watch them. No, but I appreciate the thought. There we go. I think that's in a manageable scope there, right? There you go. British cards without bombs. I'll send no more than 5 a day if you watch them. That's still too much. That's still too much for me. I can't handle it. Too much power. Does it cost money? Yes. Do you get joy some of the time? Yes. Does it involve collecting optimal? Yes. It's a hobby. Then yes, I got a fair amount of those. Not so much card collecting or stuff in the nerdy spheres, but some other stuff. Do Mortarion ever take off his armor? There's a question I would honest to God like to know. As far as this whole lore thing is concerned. Now, let's see. I think I'm vibing with the scythe. I think the scythe is cool. Gun looking fine. I think maybe I'll take some yellow and I'll do some special highlights on that. Let me grab this yellow. Oh, I don't have ice yellow. Jeez, I have freaking light yellow. Could have sworn it was. This is what I use to highlight when I do edge highlights on my gosh. Imperial Fist. Took me 5 hours to get that. I eventually got it. All right, and then put a little bit of that there, and we'll do some fine edge highlighting on Mortarion here. But yeah, light yellow from Vallejo is actually very good for some nice. If you have a nice rich Imperial Fist yellow, kind of fun stuff. Chaos is weird for dude. Actually though, the main reason I do Chaos is because I need bad guys to fight against my normal Imperial Guard. And I thought the Death Guard were good enough. Imperial Fish goated for real. Yeah, if I ever commit to a Space Marine army, it's gonna be Imperial Fist. I like them. I like the idea of fortress and siege. That makes me go, yes, please. Makes me giddy with joy. Maybe the sting keeps them up. Yeah, maybe so. Who knows? All right, now let me add just the tiniest edge highlight here. We gotta go very fine. A lot of fine brush work, a lot of fine motion, pun intended. Like Iron Warriors, whatever. Forge World, like Iron Circle. Ah, fair enough. You read my DM. Where was the DM? Oh, was it on Discord? I think I saw it, but I haven't read it yet. I can read it in a moment here. Hold on. Because, yeah, I should probably get back to you. Now, let me just hit the bottom of an edge highlight here. Also, don't drop a very expensive brush frills onto the frickin' table. But, you know, womp womp. Now, let me just edge highlight that right quick. There we go. Looking snazzy if I do say so myself. Now let me build up the edge of it here. There you go. There you go, there you go, there you go. All right. Nice. Let's see here. Now we got some nice, interesting glowing shenanigans happening there. You don't like the yellow and black warning stripes? Yeah, that's fair. I'm using the brush I'm using. This is a Winsor Newton Series 7. From England. From England? Oh. And this isn't New England, is it? This is Britain. This is Britland. Yeah. But yeah, I believe it's a size 1. It's a size 1. There it is. A very tiny one, but there it is. About when I needed the Plague Lord Titan. Ah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see when I need that. We shall see. Hold on, let me build this up a little more. Maybe sooner than later. As far as the Plague Lord Titan goes, I'm not quite sure. Did you find one? Wait. Do you like have one on hand? Okay, hold on. Just gotta get some paint on. There it is. Would that be the one I shoot? I don't know which one I would shoot just yet. Gonna have to... Might be that. That might be fun to do, because then I could use all that other texture to just create an absolute rust titan. Earthworm Jim, you make a very, very good point. Nope, you are the most... You're probably the hardest working, most overperforming servitor of the whole operation. It's foolish of me to think otherwise. Simply foolish. All right, now. Glow effect on the gun is looking decent. That's what I wanted to do. The barrel needs to glow. My gosh. Okay, hold on. Hold on. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. So let me thin down a little white. Put a little white in there. I accidentally mixed some brown into it, but you know, who cares? Let's see. And now I'm just going to pepper this in there. And then call that good. Good as, right as rain. Boom. Okay? Now, we'll be able to get some, we'll be able to do some fun glowing stuff here. So got a Banelord if you ever decide to go corn. Fair enough. I appreciate that. That's very cool. All right, now, let's see. So, you know, there's the experimenting done as far as some of this glowing effects go. Not too shabby. Not bad. I'm kind of vibing with it. I like this. I think I'm going to leave this scythe kind of... Like, I got a general idea of how we're going to do it. So that's good. So I'll just roll with that. The gun... Also, there's the other side. There's the gun before. And now here's the gun after with a little glow effect. Nothing too crazy, but a little something. I think that's a fun little bit of color there. Maybe what I'll do is I'll actually glaze a little more orange just so we can get a little richer color happen, because it's a little... It's not the most, like, wow, it's a little... Whoa, you know? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Maybe if I just add a little more stuff on there, we can get some fun stuff happening. And then let me line the actual bit there. There we go. Very fine, very fine. Shadow Wizard money gain. He lives casting. Yes. I'm going to spray some orange mist to imitate dynamic lighting. I did do a little bit of that. Just when I did it on this guy, I think I might have went a little too over the top. So I've just been doing a little glazing of it, which I can come back and do a hair more in just a second, just to kind of establish some glowing shenanigans happening without having to pull out the airbrush, and we can get like a something decent at least. Because I think we got a little glowing happen. Just might need to build up the layers just a hair more to be right where we need to be. Now, also, already adding a bit more orange is good for the for what I'm kind of going after here. So I'm going to continue on that front here, and just add it in, you know, spots where it would be glowing, but just not bright. So there's still be some richer orange stuff happening rather than like this yellow, these yellow shenanigans here. And that already I'm thinking is looking loads better. So that's perfect stuff there. Nice. Okay. There we go. I think that's good. I think that's a lot better. Okay, now let's see. Now I'm not gonna finish the glowing because I just need to get some footage for the video on this guy that I'm working on. YouTube was fantastic in 1,000 suns. Oh, you just arrived back in good old Germany. Welcome back. That's very cool. Also, the only problem with texture paint, I don't know if anyone noticed that, but there was a speck of orange. The rust will just attract gunk just because it's textured paste. So it's kind of like, okay, it'll catch stuff like lint and stuff very easily. But thankfully that came off. There's going to be a video. We're getting spoilers. You are getting spoilers. It's nuts. This is all, but yeah, I plan to, this is going to be I'm going to make an entire video out of this. It's just sometimes steps can get a little long and a little boring. And, you know, there's only so much content on YouTube you can watch before you just start to numb out. And so I enjoy doing this now and again. It's kind of fun stuff. But yeah, right now, because there was other stuff I was working on, but yeah, I think it's fun to do Mortarion. Then I can do, then I can kill two birds with one stone. We can do some live streaming, have some fun, and I'm continuing, technically, to still work on the video. Because the video needs a completed Mortarion, but there are some steps that, what editing software do I use? I just use CapCut, because it's free, and I am a savings kind of guy. I save money there so I can spend it on outrageously expensive Warhammer hobbies. Good trade. Haven't gotten any professional stuff just yet. Professional stuff. I can get decent enough stuff with CapCut for now. Video of only the boring parts. A lot of waiting for drawing and looking at reference photos. Yeah. Now let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if watching... Well, we you know, I don't know if just watch a paint dry video would do numbers. So I figured I'd kind of do that here. And then edit it all down later. DaVinci Resolve, it's free and a lot better. Fair enough. Yeah, I looked into it at some point. And then I just looked away. I forget why. Let's see. Now I think what I want to work on, think what we can do to round this out. I'm going to start having a little fun with some flesh tubes. I'm going to get some of this done. Do a little work on here. See what we can't get done there. And for that, I got a kind of specific way I go about it. Let's see. I take this. I think I actually just take this and this. There we go. Okay. I got 2 paints that I start out with, and then we can do some other stuff. Just a warning, other software tries to trick you there. DaVinci installed Mojave instead. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll keep an eye out if I start wandering. Okay, gonna take some light flesh. Is it light flesh I use? Hold on. No, it is not. Belay that order. I use basic skin tone. This is a creepy paint. It's, you know, it paints itself as a basic skin tone. That's what they want you to think. It's really a horrifying color. Fun fact. Now I'm going to... First, I got to get some of the medium out so we can get just back to the basic paint. So hold on. There we go. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of that paint onto the palette there. Looking good, looking good. And then I'm going to thin it down a little bit with water. Just a hair. The paint's already not very opaque, but I just do just a tiny bit of water just for some funsies. And now, now begins the fun part. I'm going to take this watered down color and just start applying it onto where these flesh tubes are going to be. And this is going to start getting us an interesting little color. Can I please look if there's a horse horror game for stream? I'm sure there is. Hold on, let me turn down the ISO so this is a little more visible, so we can kind of better see what the heck is actually happening here. Hold on. But you can kind of see a little deviation in color, and I will continue to add little splotches of that all around areas. Although these tubes might be different. And then once everything is like fleshed out like that, we do a little bit of fun stuff here. A little fun, a little horrific, but fun. I take another paint that I love very much, violet red. Ooh, that's fun. Violet red is pog. Put a little bit of that on the palette. Thin it down a whole heck of a lot, because we just want a faint looking bit of this whole bit of business. And I'll take a little damp brush, go over some of this, what we've just painted, get that all nice and damp. And now I'm going to spot on velvet everywhere onto these flesh tubes here. And now it might be a little challenging to see, but it's happening there. And I'm going to hit these tubes as well. And then I come in with water and I blend it all into itself, hitting the edges, just basically tapping them with some of that water there, just to get a little more stuff happening here. And then I can come in with violet as needed and just really flesh this stuff up. And so now we're left with a very quick yet pretty decent looking just bit of fleshy amalgamation happening there. And I probably will come in and add some more pink everywhere just for a little bit of undulations in color. Might add some different colors onto this depending. But that's not too bad. Also, I think there's a lot of goop here, and I want to do the goop probably the color that I usually do my gas, which is basically a mustard gas yellow greenish color. So I am going to actually just base coat this white, and there's some more of this goop here that I will base coat white as well. And then after that's base coated white, I will come in and add color to this. Now I don't know if this flesh tube is going to stay that color. That was more of an experiment just now. Might change it a little bit. Might add maybe a greenish hue to it. Might be fun. But we'll see. And then the gas color I use, let me grab that. I believe yes. It's Charming and then something probably French, so I won't even try to pronounce it. Now let's see. Now that's decently mixed up. Put that on my dry palette, which is the lid to my wet palette because efficiency, dude. And now let's see. Let's get a little bit of that paint onto to get kind of a look at what our goop is going to be. And so that's just going on here. And that is a nice goopy green color, if I do say so myself. So that's like this dude's just like leaking it out, interestingly enough. So that's cool, I suppose. And now I'll do a little bit of that on here as well. I'm going to try to be careful not to hit different areas, but there we go. So now that's there, and then I'll kind of blend that in by putting that there, and then add in, and then dotting the edges of it with water, which kind of helps fade that into itself very nicely. And so now we kind of have a beginning of what's going to be our fleshy bits, our weird and grotesque fleshy bits, which is kind of neat. Now, yeah, I think these bigger tubes I'm going to want to do a different color. The actual box art does something that I don't actually mind. I might actually try this real quick. But on the box art, the tubes, you can kind of see here, they do almost... It almost looks like a fly. It's like a bluish, grayish color. It's like gray. It's like a dark gray highlighted with blue, various blues. And I kind of like that. So I think I might give that a whirl, actually. And I'll do it on maybe... Let's see, there's 4 of those tubes happening. So I think probably just try it on this one here. Or you know what I'll do? I'll try it on a little spot and see if I like it. A little spot on the back so it's not too conspicuous. And for that, I'm simply going to take... Where do I have it? Here it is. I have a dark gray, which for some reason this strikes me as being a tad on the blue side. My other grays are like actually gray, but this always felt a little blue, interestingly enough. Which I don't hate. I think it'll make a good base coat for what we're going for here. And of course, we'll see if this works out. We'll see if we like it. And then I'm also going to thin it down a decent bit. Almost like we're glazing it, but we're not. Gonna go sleep. Bye, guys. See you, Nisty. See you around. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you coming. We're gonna do some experimenting here. We're gonna see what the heck we get. Now that's just like a first glaze on. I don't dislike that. Hold on. Stand by. I'm just gonna apply that on the entire tube now. I'm gonna go for it, dude. I'm gonna go for it and see what the heck happens, bro. Not gonna give it a second thought. We're just, YOLO. Screw it, we ball. And then we ball. And we see what we get. So hold on. Now we are kind of tube base coated there. Not bad. Also, I can probably turn up the ISO now, being that I'm not painting light on light colors. So hold on a second. Although the highlights look, the green shoulder pads look kind of nice. Now hold on. Is that bright or dark? There we go. That's a hair brighter. Okay, so there's our first. There's an iteration of the tube. I don't mind that too much. I think maybe I'll add some variation in the color, maybe some more drastic highlights at some point. But honestly, I think that's decent. I think that's decent enough to work with. And then it would just be a matter of letting this whole thing dry before we begin anything else. But there's also a little bit that I did miss that is kind of behind these tubes, these nozzles, these valves. There it is, geez. Although, actually, speaking of valves, I should wash these real quick. Hold on. Let me take a bit of Agrax Earthshade and see what we... see how a nice wash will affect this whole thing. Or at least this. That is a very thick amount of Agrax Earthshade that we probably don't necessarily need. Not gonna lie, because, yeah, that just kind of pooled on there, dude. If I'm being perfectly honest. Let me zoom that in a little more. Now let me actually, like, remove part of this outrageous wash. And there we go. Now hit there. There we go. That's looking good. It's looking good. Perfect. Okay. So now once that's dry, that will get a nice kind of almost like a burnt metal look. I do like Agrax Earthshade on a darker steel. I vibe with that. Very quick and easy way to get steel to just look like that much better, in my opinion. Okay. Also, I'm liking this gas goop color here. I think we can cook with that one. Is there any other gas goop details? Yes, there are. Okay, perfect. Perfect, because I'm like, that's kind of fun. I would like to see what a bunch of that would look like. Now that's drying out, and I'm wondering if I have a dark grayish blue speed paint that I could even use. I don't know. Let me see. Not really a dark... Actually... Well, this is more so just copying the box art, honestly. But this is like what I use for Tyranids. Like if you're doing... was it Hive Fleet... Is Hive Fleet Behemoth the red and the blue? I think it is. But yeah, and then the paint's literally called Tyrian Navy, so I think they might be hinting at that. If I was a betting man. If I had to place a bet on something. Also, I need to know now, so hold on. I am actually going to... I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up real quick. Hold on. I need to know this for myself. Hive Fleet Behemoth. Did I nail it? Yes, I did. That's awesome. And yeah, looky there. Yeah, this is basically what I did. I didn't do all the highlights and stuff like that, but that is what the speed paint, the Tyrian Navy speed paint looks just like this. Just minus the amazing individual highlights this dude did. Dang, that is some snazzy work. That is sick as all heck. Okay. But I think this base coat of gray is fine. I think maybe what I'll do... It's almost dry now. I kind of want to... I don't know why, but I'm thinking adding some purples. Very faint purples, mind you, but almost like some fleshy purple-looking things. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna go for it. And it is dry enough. Now, do I want to use a speed paint? Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll use more of that violet red that I used earlier that I love so much. And thin that down nicely. And see what we get. We're kind of in an experimental phase right now. Let's see. If I just kind of dot this around areas, sort of like this, and then after I dot it around, I'm going to simply take like some water, and then just absolutely kind of blend in the edges here. And then we'll have some sort of, and let's see. Okay, so some of the gray still isn't fully dry, but that kind of helps us mix these two paints together. So let's see. And that's just like first impressions. It's still got to dry. Very watery paint takes a while to dry, so it takes us a bit to see if what we did was worth it. But I kind of think, just based off what I'm seeing now, I think this is actually going to work out. And I think I might just end up going with this. Might be doing some combinations, maybe working together. Overall, not too shabby. Instead if I like went and added some here, right? Added some here, maybe. I think that's mighty fine. I might add some highlights to it as well at some point. Then I can do some highlights and do some pinker or purpler highlights as far as that whole thing goes. It'll be an interesting thing to do. But I think the gray will be nice. It'll go, especially against, once we do some highlighting on the cloak and apply a wash over everything, I think the gray will ultimately look a lot better. I think. Now, as far as what else to do, I mean, that might be a good pausing point for now. Now that I'm thinking really, really hard about it. I guess one thing to do real quick, maybe add a quick little bit of glowing effect to the barrel there. There we go. Let's do that right quick. And then I will skedaddle. I'll go about my way. Oh, this will be good. Okay. Now, let's see. I'll add a little glaze of orange. So let me thin it down just a hair. Bring it over there. Thin that down. Hit the outside here. It's like, well, okay, there's the orange glow from the outside, right? Maybe make that a little thicker, too. Just so you can really see, and it's like, oh, yeah, this is glowing. This is happening now. Believe it. Believe it, because it is glowing type stuff. You know what I mean? So then once we kind of establish that, we can bring it inside the barrel a little more. And now I'll take a little orange and I'll actually slide it outwards this way. There we go. Kind of blend an orange in sort of like that. So, you know, not too bad. Not too bad if I'm being perfectly honest. And then, yeah, I'll hit this side as well, trying to keep it in frame. Good, 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 good. All right. Now this inside part here, we want it to still remain bright, so I think I'll take a little bit of the light yellow, thin that down. Got a little too much water in that one, but that's okay. And now I'll go in here. Maybe hit edges like this. Edge highlight the inside of the gun barrel. Actually, what I'd want to do is you would almost want the barrel to just be painted a flat orange color, rather than just glazing over metal. We want this to be orange that we can then work off of. So we just got to build that up right quick. You're back, just popping in to say hi. Howdy, howdy, welcome back. I hope you're doing good and dandy. Right now I'm doing some final little bit of experimenting before I skedaddly do. But, I mean, we're working on a barrel. We got some fun stuff happening. I'm interested to see sort of how this turns out, though. So I want to see this through real quick. Because, yeah, I think that's a good base. That's a base that's where we want it. You made chicken fries? Sorry, I just saw that pop up on my phone real quick. That sounds incredible. All right, I'm gonna see what chicken products I have that I can steal after this. Now that is nice there. I think I'm now going to edge highlight using that brighter yellow. We're gonna see what we can't get. How do I do the gun glow? Let's see. I did something on the side here. I used a combination of airbrushing and brush painting. I think what I did was... Hold on, I need a finer brush. I got into the cracks and crevices by just watering down some white paint and then getting it in the cracks and crevices there. Then I went in with an airbrush and just kind of dotted and kind of went over the area. And then I went over it again with white and then went over with orange and got it. Airbrushing, never mind. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I know airbrushing is where not everyone has an airbrush. Majority of what I do... I've started to just adapt an airbrush into a... Could I also use a dry brush? Yes, you absolutely could. That's what I did for the longest time. And you get good results. You don't get bad results with a dry brush. Airbrushing can be smoother, but dry brushing works just as well. Then, yeah, with a dry brush, I would simply kind of base coat something like this white, and then you just dry brush darker and darker colors, whatever the color you want to glow onto it. So if you want blue, I would base coat it white, and then I would dry brush a light blue over everything. Then I would dry brush a darker blue onto higher parts and kind of going darker, so on and so forth. I think you probably get the idea. And then in the end, you'll get a very decent looking glow. But yeah, very, very simple and straightforward stuff. I don't think I have a might have one on hand. Hold on. I can show you a quick dry brush job I did real quick. And then I will skedaddle. Because, yeah, this is a decent... That's a decent gun barrel. Might work on it later, although... Actually, hold on. Yeah, let me hit one last area here. And then let me show you real quick a... just a very, very rough dry brush of white. And it actually... Yeah, there's multiple ways to do a glow effect. Like on this specimen, let me show you real quick. Let me grab it. All right. Oh, wait. Like on this guy right here, that's a pretty, I would say that's a pretty decent glow effect. All I did was I dry brushed where I wanted the glow. I just dry brushed it all white. And then I went over it with some Army Painter's Speed Paint Caribbean Ocean. And I just kind of dry brushed that all over it. And so that was a simple two-step method that got a decent enough glow that I would be, that I was content with. But yeah, fairly straightforward. Also, this is one of those guys from War Games Atlantic. So very good stuff. It's exactly right. That is, yeah, this is a kit bash. I took their World War I German infantry, and I kit bashed it with their cannon fodder set to get a sci-fi World War I kind of German Krieg action going on. But yeah, love War Games Atlantic. Love their figures. And the kit bashing, very straightforward. They're very fun for that. But guys, we did it. We painted some glow effects. We were doing some experimenting today. And, you know, we kind of kicked butt, I would say. Learned a whole lot of stuff, tried some stuff, had to redo some stuff, but ultimately came back better. I really like the sort of, almost like a fire we have going on Mortarion's scythe. Very interesting bit there. Did some glowing effects on his pistol here. Still probably a couple things that I will try on this guy eventually. We'll see exactly what happens, but I think I'll call it there for today. I should try out Trench Crusade. Look up the Artillery Witch from there. I have seen a bunch of Trench Crusade, and I know the Artillery Witch is a very cool design. I remember they made like a 1-to-1 scale prop of the Artillery Witch, which was cool. Funny enough, I love World War I. My entire Imperial Guard army is based on World War I. I'm just not the biggest Trench Crusade guy. For some reason, I don't vibe with it as much as I do 40k World War I soldiers. Oddly enough. Looks like a cool game, though. But yeah, I just never really vibe with it for some reason. But I do love the era, so that's why I put these guys into 40k. But yeah. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Okay? Stay good. Thank you so much for all the support we got today. This was incredible to behold, and I'm very grateful for you guys because my goodness, that was you guys went above and beyond the Call of Duty there. I was not expecting that at all. Let me get to the webcam. There we go. So yeah, I'm a little flabbergasted by the whole thing. You guys are something else. And I appreciate you all very much. But guys, that's all I got for you today. I'll be back Monday, maybe Saturday. We'll see how Saturday looks, but until I see you then, either way, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until the next time, good day to you all.